Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. I'm Debbie Chronister. I'm an independent STEM-It-Up demonstrator. And I'm here this morning to show you a really fun project. This is the paper we're going to use today. It is, but I'm going to show you the card first that we're going to do. Rachel Tessman did this on her blog, posted on her blog a while back, and I think it's so cute. And so this is one of the cards that we did in our club this month, in June of 2025. And so, like I said last week, I am going to be posting these on here so that my club members will have a reference to go back to as well, because we did all fun folds this month. So this is just a really fun, it looks like you could put a candy bar down in there, or a couple of candy bars. It might be a really fun Christmas card. So this morning we're going to make it using Florals in Bloom. I love this paper. It's just so pretty, and I am going to make it from the beginning. So we're going to start with Blackberry Bliss because that coordinates with it. Let me get my paper trimmer up here. And we have 3 pieces of Blackberry Bliss here. I don't know that we'll need all those, but we will need some. The first piece I'm going to cut at 5.5 by 9, and you see I'm cutting it the long way because I need the 9 inches, and our paper's only 8.5 inches, and so 5.5 by 9. And I'm going to move this out of here just so my trimmer doesn't slide. And I'm going to score at 3 3/4. Make sure I can get this right, because if you get these measurements wrong, then you're off. Okay, and then 4 1/4. And I will have a free PDF tutorial project sheet for you on my blog. So if you go over there after, give me a little time because it's not all organized yet, and I don't have all the measurements on it. Okay, and then this is at 8 and 8.5. Okay, we're going to set that aside. We're going to do all our cutting first. Okay, the next one, so that was 9 by 5.5. The next one is 6 by 5.5. So this one we can cut this way. And we need to cut this down to 6. So that was my 5.5 direction. And then we're going to score at 2 1/4. Two and 3/4, and 5, and 5.5. Okay, we'll set that one over there. And then the last piece is going to be 3 inches by 5.5. So I don't think this is big enough. I think this is too small. No, this is exactly 3 inches. This is the piece I cut off, the 9-inch piece. So 3 by 5.5. I'm going to cut that down to 5.5. And then, so these are my scraps. Let's get those out of the way. And that one's a scrap in the sense, even though it's a whole sheet. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to score at 3/4. I think, let me just double check. Yeah, 3/4. Make sure we're scoring and not cutting. 3/4. Let's see, 1 1/4. So we're going to move this over to the 1 1/4 inch mark. And then 2 inches. And 2.5. Okay, all our scoring is done and cutting. Okay, so let's bring these back over. So now I need a bone folder, don't I? I'm going to burnish these I'm not sure which glue I'm going to use. Okay, so I am going to burnish these on those score lines, all of them. Do the 9-inch one here. And our little 3-inch one here. So when I showed this to my girls in club, they said, oh, but when we were done, we realized it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be. Okay, so something doesn't feel right here. Yeah, it is. It's right. It's just much larger than I thought. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't cut off the 9 inches. That's why. Okay, so I have to figure out which end I needed to cut off because this is 11 inches. It wouldn't hurt if you left it like that, but we don't need it that way. So let's cut this at 9. This was that 5.5 by 9, and I didn't do the 9. Okay, so if I go 9 here, to figure out which end I want to cut this off of. I think it's this end. Yeah, because I goofed. So cut it before you do it, guys. Because this is, let's see, what's this measurement? That's what I need to know. This measurement. So my first measurement was 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 is right there. Okay, so I am going to cut it off this end. Okay, so 9 inches. Sorry about that. But if you do the same thing I did, then you'll know. Because you should only have a 1/2 inch left over to tuck under there, not all of that. Okay. All right, let's put this away again. Although it wouldn't hurt anything if I just tucked it under there. It was just going to get tucked under. So, okay, so we're going to start with this the largest one, and I'm going to put some Stamp and Seal. Probably should be using the plus. Write down that little 1/2 inch panel there. I'm going to show you an easy way to make sure you always get these lined up. So I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to fold this. This is folded on this second score line here. And so that is going to lay down right on there. And it's going to just go perfectly on the edge. See how that is? That's just perfect on that edge. So it makes it super simple. On the smallest one, I'm going to put my adhesive on this little strip here. This one is larger. This strip is a 3/4 inch strip. So you want to put it on this one. So let's just put it on the little one, and we're going to tuck that, do the same thing. I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to fold this over onto it. And I have a nice finish there right on the edge. You can see it's right on the edge. Okay, for this one, same thing. I'm going to put my adhesive right along this edge, and then I'm going to fold this over like that. So flip that over, and oops, where's my silicone mat? I always know that I don't have it when my glue won't run. There's something about this being underneath it that makes it work perfectly. So, okay, so we're going to fold this over, and I'm going to just go right there. I'm checking my top and bottom to make sure that they are even because I want them to look nice and neat in the right place. Okay, now a little trick. I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut this in white. Let me grab a piece of white. I'm going to cut a little strip here that is just, doesn't have to be any particular length, but it's going to be 3/4 inch. Just like that. Okay, That's going to be my guide for putting this together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to put adhesive on the back of this, the middle size one. So I want to find my back, and that edge is so nice and neat, it's hard to find it. Okay, I'm going to flatten that down. So I don't want it on this, on these edges, the little 1/2 inch edges. I want it in that large area in the middle. Okay, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to take my guide and I'm going to fold my box to the left so that the little 1/2 inch thing is in the back. I'm going to put my guide right here on this edge. And I know if I butt up against that guide with this edge right here, then I am going to have it exactly in the center. Oops, let me get my guide. My guide is sleeping here. Probably be easier if I just attach that, huh? Let's take some removable adhesive. Whoa, am I out of it? No. Okay, I've got some removable adhesive. I'm just going to put that on there because I don't want it. I want it to stick, but I don't want it to shift. Okay, now I can line this edge up. This is, so my 1/2 inch is on the top. And I'm just going to line that up with that and press it down. And we're good. That's my first box on there. Let's pull this off. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to attach this little thing on, and I want to make sure my 1/2 inch edge is here. I'm going to fold that over that way, and I'm just going to put this on that edge. Okay, it's still sticky. Find my back, which is right here. I'll flatten that down. Put my adhesive on there. And butt that right up against that edge. Make sure the top and bottom are even with the layer below. And there we go. So all 3 of my layers are now on. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I think it's so cool. This will flatten out and will fit in a standard envelope. Okay, so now let's cut our paper. And there is a trick to cutting this paper. So first I'm going to find what is my direction. On this paper, I have a direction. So I'm going to cut I'm going to cut this down to 5 3/8 because this is 5 1/2, and so we're going to go down to 5 3/8 for this. And then I'm going to cut it at 5 3/8 again. And so that will give me enough to cover those. Okay, now this is the trick. So when you start cutting, you're going to want to lay out. So the first one you're going to cut, oh, you know what I did? I'm going to show you another trick. Let's get another piece of, no, that didn't work with this. Never mind, forget that one. Okay, so I'm going to start with, my first cut is going to be at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, that's going to go on that side of my my card because I want to lay it this way. So I'm going to start building this direction. Okay, so that is the trick, is because I had some that I cut that were more work than they should have been to figure out what was what. So see, I'm building, so I will still have my picture when I'm done, or my paper design will be in order. So this is 3/8. And this is 5/8. So I'm alternating between 3/8 and 5/8 with each cut. 3/8. I do have a trick for this too. I have lots of tricks, you know, guys. Anything that makes life easier for me, I like. So what I usually do, here's my pen. I take my pen and I'm going to pop this off. You guys know this comes off, right? And I will mark so that I am sure that I'm getting the right place. This is my 3/8 inch mark right here. And this is my 5/8 inch mark right here. It comes right off. It's a Sharpie, but it'll come right off. And that'll make it much quicker for me in cutting because I'm not trying to, you know, be really cautious because I don't want my pattern to be messed up. We have learned that if you do mess up your pattern, where am I? I'm at 5/8. It doesn't show that much. Oops, I lost my paper stuck to my trimmer. Okay, and then 3/8. And to see how much quicker that is, I'm not trying to second guess. Is that the 3/8 inch mark or is that a 1/2 inch mark? So finish these up real quick. And you can see my pattern is laying out perfectly. Now, if you were doing this with a scene that was like, let's see, let me think. Oh, I know. So one of our papers is, and this last piece should be 3/8. Did I cut something wrong? I have to figure out which side that goes on. This one should be 3/8. I think I must have cut something wrong. We're going to find out, aren't we? 5/8, 3/8, 5. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. Either that or this one I cut before I needed to. I cut it too small. So we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11. So I cut something. Better to over than under, right? Okay, so let's get our box back in here. And I am going to start on this side just because that one's closest to me. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put on my glue. I'm going to flatten this all down. So I'm going to put glue on 2 panels so I can put those 2 in. What I love about the glue is it gives me a little bit, just a smidgen of time to adjust it. There we go. And my fingers are already getting sticky. Okay, let's go to the next 2. So it really makes a wow card, which is really fun when you give a wow card. And it doesn't have any special instructions on how to open it. Sometimes our fun fold cards are so complicated that our recipients can't figure out what to do with them. And so this one doesn't. It just kind of pops up. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so let's do the next 2. And I'm just going to keep going all the way across. And once I get to the top, then I'll start down the other side. And a big thank you to Rachel for giving the instructions on this. I mean, very easy. So Rachel Tessman does a lot of paper pumpkins. She's a sweet lady. I had the opportunity to meet her and meet her sons, and actually I shared an elevator ride with her sons and when I was in Hawaii. which was really fun. They were perfect gentlemen and very sweet. And they have just graduated, I think, from high school. One of the youngest one just graduated. So, oops, let's go over one more time. Okay, we are almost done here, guys. I know this takes a lot of time, and I'm sorry, but it's the only way I can show you how this card's really gonna look, unless I just did it all myself before. But I want you to know how to do it, and that's why I do these videos. And for my team to be able to go back and have this I mean, not my team, but for my clubs to be able to go back and have this reference. So my clubs meet once a month, and we have fun. We enjoy each other. Isn't that what it's all about? Okay, there we go. And this was Blackberry Bliss. I don't know if I told you guys that. I started with a Blackberry Bliss card base. Okay, and I couldn't decide what colors. I wasn't able to choose ahead of time. Of what colors I wanted. So this is the greeting. Once again, it's a greeting from the, what's it called? All greetings. Let's see. It is this. I love this thing. I'm using it so much this year. Greetings for all, mix and match and Firma pack. And so it comes with a ton of greetings. So you get 2 of each page. There's 3 pages. Some have a black background with white lettering. And so I am using that again, this thinking of you, I just love. And I'm thinking, I thought I wanted to put that on there, but I'm thinking I almost want to put it on the white and put the Blackberry Bliss. So guys, what do you think? Blackberry Bliss against it? Like that? With the thinking of you on the white. Yeah, let's do that and pop it up. Boy, that greeting is as big as the card. So let's make sure. I almost want to go this way on that greeting. I did circles on the other one, and those worked out great. Can't go that way on the greeting. Okay, so I'm going to start with putting these 2 together. And these 2 greetings are from a stamp set that is coming out in the Christmas catalog. These 2, tags. And it's beautiful. So, yeah, let's do that. We'll just put it on there. We'll put some dimensionals on there. I just had a thought. It's probably too late now. Let's just put it on there. And I have cut a couple of branches in Fresh Freesia. And Blackberry Bliss. So, because these are so big, and I don't need them that big, let me grab my paper snips and just trim those off. So if I cut right in here, now I have 2, right? Where did I cut? Right in here. And I have one in vellum. There it is. Okay, let's just put those together. And we're going to stick those back there. Okay. So how about some glue dots? They're the one thing I always lose are my glue dots. See if I can do this without unhooking them. I've got them in a nice little pattern there. Okay, we're going to put some dimensionals right there. So when I fold this over, I want to make sure that my branches are not sticking out too far. Let's do the other ones at the bottom as well. And I'm hooking them to the back of the tag, so I want to make sure that my glue dots are on the front. Of my leaves. Oops. Uh-oh. Where's my take your pick tool? I'm stuck to the table. Okay. And this can go right underneath here. You see, I am keeping them over this way so that when I put this on, it will fold down. All right, I'm going to put my dimensionals in the center here. And I'm just going to put 3 of them. And then, oops, peel those off. And stick my greeting right in the middle. So now when it comes down, and the thing is if it's too close one way, you can shift it a different way. Okay, so I could shift this over this way and this over that way, and it's almost perfect. So or I could shift this way. So when you put it in the envelope, you might have to play with it a little bit. But there is our card for today. This is called a pillar pyramid card. So thank you for joining me today. I know this was a long one, and I appreciate you sticking with me to the end. And I am here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time for Wake Up Wednesday. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.